The third and final season of Marvel's What If is here, ending the series off of a quiet whimper. I have not watched What If seasons 1 or 2, but I do remember the internet being abuzz when the first season released. I didn't even know a second season came out, and I did not see a single person talk about it. So I guess Marvel has realized no one cares about this show and decided to pull the plug. Anyway, I cannot attest to the quality of the other two seasons because I haven't seen them, but watching season 3 made me wonder, what if Marvel made a show that didn't suck? Also, don't jump down my throat about doing a review about the third season without seeing the first two. This is an anthology series. The whole point is that the episodes are standalone. Nearly every aspect of this season is a complete failure, but first let me tell you the terrible episode concepts. What if Hulk accidentally made a kaiju and the Avengers had to do a Pacific Rim ripoff? What if Agatha was an old Hollywood actress and was trying to steal the Eternals' powers? What if Bucky and Red Guardian hung out? What if Darcy banged Howard the Duck and everyone was after their egg that contains a magical child for some reason? What if Ironheart fought Mysterio on a shattered Earth? What if Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop fought Walton Goggins in the Wild West? And the last two episodes are two halves of one long episode. What if the show stopped being an anthology and expected you to have seen the previous seasons? As you can see, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel for episode ideas, which I don't even understand why. This is the third season and there's like 8 episodes a season. You would think they were on the 14th season and they were doing 26 episode seasons for like 10 years. How are they at the point where they're doing an episode where Howard the Duck and a supporting character from the Thor movies had a kid? Something I noticed about season 3 is the main popular characters of the MCU, Iron Man, Cap, the Guardians of the Galaxy, are not even in any of the episodes aside from maybe them dying in the first 5 seconds without having a single voice line. The characters all of the episodes focus on are either characters that still have movies coming out, like Bucky, Falcon, Red Guardian, Shang-Chi, Kate Bishop, etc. Newer characters like Ironheart they are trying to promote. Hulk is the only original Avengers lineup character we get as a main character in the episode, and I'm assuming that's because they still have Mark Ruffalo under contract. While we're on the topic of Mark Ruffalo, he is giving the worst performance ever. He sounds like he's doing an impression of himself, and I thought they got a sound alike before the credits. He sounds so bored and uninterested, like he recorded it after being tranquilized in bed on the phone. It completely reeks of contractual obligation and like he did not care at all about the project, and honestly I wouldn't either after reading the script. The other voice work in the show is, okay. It's not like amazing. Everyone's doing a decent to good job. Aside from David Harbour is doing an amazing job. He's a great voice actor. Shout out to him in Creature Commandos as Frankenstein, where he's fucking hilarious. Now on to the animation. This cartoon is horrifically ugly. The faux, cel-shaded 3D art style is terrible. The characters' faces aren't expressive, and for some reason, everyone looks like they've gotten lip filler done and have lip liner on. The colors are muted, the environments look empty, the lighting is terrible. For some reason, every texture is shiny and reflects light even when it shouldn't. The animation is incredibly stiff and awkward, and several times they just straight up copy and paste characters without making any changes to their model. The entire show looks unfinished and like animation test footage you would show as a proof of concept rather than a finished product. The action scenes are actually pretty good though. Nah, just kidding, they're complete dog shit. The stiff animation, horrendous art style doesn't help, but they're also just choreographed and executed really poorly. Much like Mark Ruffalo's presence, they feel contractually obligated and feel like the creators of the show had no actual interest in making the action scenes and are only here to fill time, and because since it's a Marvel show, you gotta have action scenes. No one ever uses their powers in a clever way or does anything interesting, and they all either go on for way too long or end abruptly. The last episode of the series is basically a 30-minute action scene of the Eternals and the Guardians of the Multiverse, or whatever the fuck they're called, just hitting each other endlessly, neither of them suffering any significant damage for like 30 fucking minutes. It's so terrible. And on the ending abruptly side, in the Red Guardian Winter Soldier episode, they are partway through an action scene and it randomly jump cuts to them in different locations, and it seems like they lost the fight somehow. This also speaks to the biggest issue which I brought up earlier, the writing. This show has some of the worst writing I've ever seen. Every episode is not only a bad idea for a story, it's also executed in the worst way possible. There are so many stupid things in the show that fall apart when you think about them for a millisecond. For example, in the first episode, everyone gets giant mechs to fight the Hulk kaijus. How would a mech help Thor? Even if he wasn't stronger than the mech somehow, Unless it's the exact size of his body, like Iron Man's armor, he wouldn't be able to effectively wield Mjolnir. And to try to distract from this, he has a mech scale Mjolnir, which would not be magical and would just be a normal hammer, negating all of the advantages of the mech and Thor's powers. The whole dumbass mech setup gives hardcore Lego set vibes. Lego loves giving superheroes mechs for sets, even Superman, which makes no sense. Then at the end of the very same episode, Bruce Banner makes a firmware update for the mechs that allows them to all fuse together into one big mech like Power Rangers. This makes absolutely no sense and would be like if you updated your phone and it made it so you could fuse it with your computer. That's just the tip of the iceberg for the absolute troglodyte level writing in the show. The pacing is terrible too. Randomly throughout a lot of episodes, the watcher will skip the story ahead with narration, which is such an awkward and clunky way to do a time skip, and it completely kills the pacing. And finally, all the stories have happy endings and nothing crazy even happens in most of them. I feel like the show, or at least this season, doesn't understand the point of an out of continuity story. They write these stories like they are planning on continuing them rather than a crazy anything goes plot. They could have the good guys be the bad guys and vice versa, have the heroes die at the end in a crazy last stand. Literally anything can happen. That's the point of a what if story. You can make anything fucking happen because none of it matters. Instead of going hog wild like they should, since that's the point of this, they limit themselves to the characters only being slightly different versions of themselves, if at all. The Winter Soldier and Red Guardian are exactly the same as mainline continuity, and at the end of every episode, everything works out. None of them have even a bittersweet ending, let alone a bad one. That's just a little taste of the absolute mess that is What If Season 3. I could go on more at length, but the show doesn't even deserve me talking about it more. Do not watch it, it's bad. Anyway, what's your favorite Marvel show? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, check out my video on Deadpool and Wolverine to see me talk about something Marvel made that was actually good this year. Thanks for watching, bye bye.